Dual threat, political correctness and jihad. As young Muslim doctor in Egypt, my next guest turned to radical Islam, but after witnessing firsthand the horrors of terrorism, he turned his life around. He spent the last couple of decades warning about the dangers of Islamic extremism. We keep reading stories here in the U.S. of young people, American citizens or naturalized, but full participants in American society, joining ISIS or supporting it materially. What is the appeal?
The appeal for them is the desire to serve the religion and serve God. And this desire is unfortunately directed in the wrong path. It's like if you have nuclear energy, for example, you can give light with it and you can destroy a city with it. The same here, you have energy, desire to serve the religion, and when the traditional or mainstream religious teaching teaches certain values that creates hatred and trend toward violence, then you would expect this outcome at the end for people who are very dedicated in this path.
Yes, you would. So you're describing very clearly a religious impulse. These people aren't mad about global warming. They're not mad about poverty or oppression. They're trying to serve God, as you just said. It seems obvious. They say it out loud. Why do you think our leaders here, our president among them, refuse to acknowledge that?
I think they do not want to confront the reality that religious teaching has a major role in the phenomena. Let me ask just a basic question here for everyone. If poverty and lack of education and the socio-economic and political circumstances are the cause of the problem, why these factors do not affect the young non-Muslims who live under the same circumstances? Why specifically young Muslims are more prone to these factors if these are the true factors? So I think we need to ask ourselves about certain basic concepts that we thought we have to believe in them, like tolerance, for example. Many people think the U.S. became a beacon for liberty and democracy because of tolerance. In fact, it is the opposite. Because the U.S. was intolerant, it became beacon for liberty and democracy. For example, had the U.S. been tolerant to slavery, slavery would exist today. Because we were intolerant to slavery, then we became beacons for liberty and democracy. So actually, we need to really set the definitions correct here to be able to take correct decisions. And I don't see the leadership are able to basically define the problem. Right. And you can't
much less defend American values against it because they don't understand what American values are. Freedom of expression, of course, is the most basic of all American values, and they're willing to toss it out the window in an effort to placate people who won't be placated. So how do you fight against it, though? I mean, if this is a religious impulse and people think they're serving God, how do you convince them they're not?
You have three levels of intervention here. The first level is when someone is militant. You need to deal with them at a militant level or security level, or you destroy them, militants, by using force. You have some other group, are radical group who have tendency to become terrorists. And these people need a very powerful psychological warfare or psychological operations to deter them from doing the act of evil or terrorism. Because for the terrorists or the jihadists, it is a win-win-win situation. If they died on earth, they will go to paradise where they have 72 virgins. If they conquer the area, they will control it by Sharia and they will achieve their goal. They are victorious. If they were caught by Western nations, they will be protected by human rights activists and values. So for them, it is win-win situation. And we need a strong deterrence to prevent these radicals from continuing in the path of terror. Also, at the level of normal individuals, we need to work through religious reformation, reinterpretation of the religious text, plus rechanging the thinking process that breeds radicalism and hatred. There is certain thinking traits that you can modify using certain cognitive psychological tactics that ultimately can prevent this phenomena.
Are you convinced, doctor, that the American Muslim establishment is doing enough to convince young Muslims in this country not to follow that path?
Of course not. To do enough means you come to the radical teaching one by one and either reinterpret it or consider it contextualized in certain time and the place, and have clarity about certain principles like killing apostates, like beating women, like stoning women to death, like declaring jihad on non-Muslims to subjugate them to Islam and taking their women as war prisoners. If there is no clear stand against these values and the principles, then we are really in trouble. And I don't see the religious leaders of the Muslim world taking clear stand about these values.
No, you never do. And you look at the polling, and the overwhelming majority of Muslims all through the Middle East the majority of them believe that apostates should be killed, and you never hear anybody stand up and say that out loud.
Absolutely.
Doctor,
this is the core. Yeah, this is the core of the problem. When you underestimate human life for an apostate, then you underestimate the human life for everyone else.
Exactly. That's a wise point, and I hope that everyone hears you. I hope your message goes far and wide in this country.
We have a number of boys on fire. It looks like the plane.
The People vs. Mohammed went #1 on Amazon and is still on the bestseller lists. At Amazon America, reviewers of The People vs. Mohammed are saying, highly recommended. The book should be required reading. Well done to the author who, in my opinion, is brave and courageous. 5 stars. Stocks are selling so fast, Amazon is continuously restocking their inventory to keep up with demand. J.K. Shineland is truly overwhelmed and eternally grateful for the support received. Sadly, the author has, however, received numerous death threats because of its success. But this only shows that Muslims are truly running scared and have realized that their tacky deception tactics are failing. Muhammad was not the perfect human. From what we've been told by numerous subscribers, Muslims are leaving Islam because of this book, although secretly, as apostasy in Islam is certain death. Just go to jkshineland.com to be taken directly to the book's listing page.
Let him prove it's a religion of peace.